Ready for the next level in love? Did you turn your spring fling to a main thing this summer? Or are you getting a kick out of me reading this?
Oh, my.
Author Susan Piver has a list of thought-provoking questions for you before you make it official.
The cheese factor on that one was good, Margie. You sold it.
Had to.
Well, her book, The Hard Questions, 100 Essential Questions to Ask Before You Say I Do, provides some support for having the tough conversations that could lead couples to a deeper understanding, a deeper intimacy with each other.
Yeah, and here to discuss some of those tough questions is Tamsen Fadal, anchor at our NewsNation affiliate in New York. She's also an author and midlife advocate. Tamsen, we always love having you. Couples at any stage of their relationship can benefit from these tough questions that you have to ask. What kind of questions are we talking here? And maybe some questions that might surprise some folks.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of them added on these days. Like, are you going to stay on social? Do you want to be on social together? I think financial is always the big one. Children is always the big one. Politics is another one you have to talk about. So I think you'd be surprised at some of the things you need to add to those conversations before you not just get married, but even get engaged.
In terms of those who are older, and you have some experience in this category yourself, you know, somebody who's over 35, 40, 50, the questions about marriage come up like that when you meet somebody. I've had experience with this too. What do you think is the toughest topic to tackle early on before you get too invested and give your heart away?
Oh, it's such a good question. You know, here's one that I don't know that we really ask because we don't think of it as a question, but I always think about how you handle stress because I don't know that we know that down the line. And that causes a lot of problems. Financial is a big one that is obvious that we have to talk about. Children is another one that's obvious that we have to talk about. But stress, that's a weird one because it's very subjective in how everybody handles it differently. But I think it's something really important to talk about because the last thing you want to do is get in a relationship and all of a sudden somebody has rage or somebody deals with things, walks out, doesn't finish a conversation or an argument. Those are big ones, really big ones, and they cause a lot of pain.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
It is a great point. And you bring up children. I think a lot of people listening to this segment say, when do I ask about that? I feel like age and stage in life probably play a role here, but when is the right time to ask about having kids and if you're aligned in that
or parenting category? Kids that one person already has.
Parenting. Yeah, that's a good one. You know, I think those have to be done right away. If you know you're going to be serious with somebody, that is a question that has to be handled right away. Both of them, in fact, the parenting, children and parenting. I got married when I was 50, my second marriage. So obviously that was not a question that we talked about, but it certainly was in my first marriage. It was really important that we were both on that same page because without it, you don't want to get down the line and say, oh, I didn't feel comfortable asking the question. I didn't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. I didn't know where I stood, which is okay. But you have to be able to talk about that and be honest about it too, and not go along with what the other person's plan is and realize that was never your plan to begin with.
Real quick, and we only have a few seconds here, but what about the past? You know, we all have our stories, we all have our baggage in terms of trauma, abuse, maybe, you know, not so picture perfect presentation that we put on Instagram. How transparent should you be and how early?
You know what? I would hope if you're going to get that serious with somebody, you feel comfortable and you feel like you have a safe space with that person to talk about as early as possible. But, you know, some of those things are things that we don't even know. Maybe we're in therapy or we don't even realize have traumatized us from the past. I think, though, that is one of those conversations that is at the top of the list and you can move some of the other ones down. It's a really good point.
Yeah, Tamsen Fadal, always good to see you.
Yeah, trust and transparency, are key. See you soon.
Thanks, lady. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.